Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Panagsanib na puwersa ng PBS Radyo Pilipinas World Service at Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Magsisilbing tulay sa himpapawid para sa Filipino diaspora. Dala ay balita, impormasyon at serbisyo publiko na mag-uugnay sa pamahalaan at OFWs sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Tampok din ang mga Pilipino na nagbibigay inspirasyon, kampyon ng kultura, tradisyon at katatagan ng Pilipino sa kapwa Pinoy saan man sa mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Ang Commission on Filipinos Overseas o CFO ay kinagagalak na itanghal ang Bridges on Air kaakibat ang Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Para sa inyong kaalaman, ang CFO ay ang ahensya ng gobyerno na naatasang siguraduhin ang mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo ay may kaugnayan sa bansang Pilipinas. Nais ng CFO ng ating mga migrante ay kasama natin sa pambansang pag-unlad. Hangad ng CFO ang isang komunidad ng mga kagalang-galang at mahuhusay na Pilipino sa ibayong dagat na makabuluhang nag-aambag sa kapakanan ng bansang kanilang titirahan habang nanatili na matibay ang ugnayang pampolitika, pangkabuhayan at pangkultural sa Pilipinas. Kaya naman po ay nais namin ipakilala ang Bridges on Air, ang programang magbibigay ng boses sa mga Pilipino sa iba't ibang sulok ng mundo upang ibahagi ang kanilang kwento, tagumpay at mga pangarap bilang migrante. Nagpapasalamat po kami sa tulong ng Radyo Pilipinas World Service upang mabigyan ng pagkakataon ating mga kababayan sa ibayong dagat na maging kabalikat natin sa mga usapin at talakayan patungkol sa pabansang kaunlaran. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang migranteng Pilipino. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Isang magandang araw muli sa ating mga taga-subaybay at tagapakinig dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Narito na naman tayo sa isa pang edisyon ng Bridges on Air sa pagtutulungan po ng PBS Radyo Pilipinas World Service at ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Sa ngalan po ng ating kasamang si Ray Sampang, ako po ang inyong lingkod, Steph Vicente mula sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service at kasama po natin si
Ares Gutierrez po ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas.
Ayun. So, pangalawang episode na to na ako nandito. Ayan, second episode na kasi syempre nagkaroon ng meeting si Sir Ray, Pero syempre glad to be back na dito sa programang Bridges on Air. Kumusta kayo, Sir Ares?
Mabuti naman at tuloy-tuloy pa rin itong ginagawa natin.
Serbisyo sa ngalan ng serbisyo publiko. Na talagang nakaraan niya, iba nung Chinese New Year talagang pumasok kayo dito para magprograma.
Ganun talagang buhay sa radyo Wala naman tayong bakasyon dito.
Kaya nga, Sir Ares, ganun talaga. Tinanggap na natin, in-embrace na natin ang ating kapalaran.
Ginusto natin yan.
Kaya nga, di ba? Ganun na lang. Wala na tayong magagawa. Nandito na tayo. Yun, so,
pero commitment talaga ng mga journalist yan.
Yun talaga. Yun ang bumubuhay sa atin, yung ating commitment at passion sa ating craft. Kasi tapos plus tayo, mga nasa government din tayo. So, idagdag na natin yung public service. So, kapag syempre may naseserbisyohan tayo, ay kahit papaano ay kapag warm siya sa ating puso. Ayan, na tayo yung makapag-inform, makapag-educate sa pamagitan po ng ating mga programa. So ano ba yung mga dapat nating abangan dito sa ating programang Bridges on Air?
Meron tayong makakausap mamaya na isang university professor sa Amerika na merong bonggang passion project.
Kaya nga, kumbaga very inspiring story, lalong-lalo na sa ating, syempre, yung Filipino diaspora natin, Dahil, katulad din naman ng mga iba nating mga episodes, no, na syempre kailangan talaga natin ng stories of hope,
Oo.
para mas lalong kumbaga kapag kasi na-inspire yung ating Filipino community, parang doon nagsisimula po ang
Oo.
progreso eh. Di ba po, Sir Ares?
Tsaka yung mga kwentong hindi nabibigyan usually ng pansin, yun ang inaangat natin dito sa ating programa.
Pero bago lahat yan, no, yung ating mahabang kwentuhan sa ating guest para sa ating Pinoy Ako segment, ay dadako muna tayo sa San Pablo, Laguna. Ayan. Dahil nandoon ang ating CFO community correspondent dahil balita ko ay may kaganapan doon, no, si Secretary Clink Ang.
Meron kasing may mga nakaprograma kasi ang CFO at kasama itong pinuntahan nila na sa San Pablo dahil meron silang balak na itayo doon na retirement hub para sa mga migranteng Pilipino.
That's good news po, no, kasi at least syempre ay bahagi yan talaga, no, nung kung masabi natin na siguro benefits, no, para din sa ating mga Filipino migrants.
Kasi hindi naman panghabang buhay ay nagtatrabaho tayo, ano. So tulad ikaw, matagal ka pa. Kami malapit na kami lumanding.
Yun nga po, no. Kahit minsan, no, syempre pag nakikita ko yung mga retired kong mga kasama, sabihin ko sana all. Ano sa sana all eh.
Pero noon ganun din kami noon na hindi pa namin pinag-iisipan noon ng retirement, pero biglang nagulat ka na lang, malapit ka na rin pala.
Kaya nga po. So, kaya mahalaga yung mga ganitong proyekto para at least, no, may mga kumbaga may mga mapupuntahan talaga.
Napapaghandaan ng mga ganyang bagay.
Lalong-lalo na ng ating Filipino migrants. Siguro patuloy na natin ang ating CFO community correspondent mula no na magbabalita sa atin mula pa sa San Pablo, Laguna, walang iba kundi si Sir Manny Tibe. Sir Manny, welcome po sa Bridges on Air. Ayan, siguro pabalitaan na natin siya, no. Ayan, ihatid niyo na po sa amin kung ano ang mga kaganapan
Sir
diyan.
Manny, anong pinaggagawa niyo diyan sa San Pablo?
Hello po at magandang ang hapon na po, ano? Sa inyo po mula dito po sa San Pablo, Sir Ares, Ma'am. Magandang hapon po sa ating mga tagapakinig po ng ating Radyo Pilipinas sa World Service po, Videos on Air.
So, ayun po. Go ahead po.
Ano pong nangyari dyan, San Pablo?
Yes po, we are here right now to conduct the site visit on the proposed continuing care retirement community dito po sa San Pablo City. Located po ito dito sa Santo Angel Heights, San Pablo City, near the Lake Calibato and Mount Cristobal. So it's a scenic place talaga. Maganda siya, mahangin, malawak, and very conducive sa mga gusto ng nature at saka ng fresh air kung magre-retire kayo. Yun po. So, we are with the members of the Technical Working Group on Retirement and Reintegration, composed of the CFO, the Atika Overseas Workers Communities Initiatives. We also have the Department of Migrant Workers, Region 4, and Philippine Nursing Association of America and the National Federation of Filipino Americans. So, yun po yung mga kasama po natin ngayon that conducted the site visit, and later on, we will have a meeting po to discuss naman po yung plans po natin with regard to the CTRSD project po.
Pero ano yung
So, yun po, right now po, we are looking.
Mukhang kailangan natin pumihit. Signal. Sige po. Sir Manny, naririnig po kami? Ayun. Medyo
Naput-
kailangan natin,
Putol-putol ang signal mo, Sir Manny, kung nadidinig mo kami. Baka pwedeng lumipat ka ng location para medyo luminaw ang iyong signal.
Mm-mm. Ayun. Ay, nag-leave daw muna saglit, no, si Sir Manny.
Baka hindi talaga maganda yung connection doon. No?
Subukan natin ulit. Sayang naman, no, kasi syempre, malaking bagay yan para sa ating Filipino migrants. Ayun, naririnig po kami, Sir Manny.
Yes, ma'am. Okay na po.
Ayun, medyo naputol-putol kayo kanina. Sige po, ibalita nyo na po sa amin.
Kasi pabalik po sa Atika Center. So we just finished our inspection po ng proposed site para po dun sa retirement community, and then right now we're on our way back to the Atika Center para naman po sa aming lunch and later on for the meeting po. So bakit po ba ginagawa ng CFO ito? Bakit tayo nakapag-partner with this organization po? Kasi we believe na yung pong ating mga kababayan po, yung ating mga Filipino diaspora po, sabi nga po ni Sir Aris, hindi po sila for life na magstay po doon. Eventually po, they're planning to return home, and as a government agency that caters to overseas Filipinos, we have plans to accommodate them kung paano ba magiging buhay nila once they return to the country. And we should have yung tong sistema to assist them as they plan to return home and maging productive members of society kahit po mga retired na po sila. Ito pong ating continuing care retirement community po. This is a landmark project po providing long-term care and sustainable home para sa mga aging members ng Filipino diaspora. We just had our MOA signing po ng January 21. And right now po nasa market study phase po tayo para po we'll be able to know ano po yung mga needs po ng ating Filipino diaspora that we can incorporate po doon sa ating proposed retirement community. Siguro po para lang may idea kayo, yung pong ating mga partner organizations po, si Atika po, matagal na pong isang NGO that provides services to overseas Filipino workers. Yung pong Soro-Soro Yabade Development Cooperative po is one of the outstanding Filipino cooperative in the Philippines po. It's $1 billion peso cooperative po na meron pong diverse investment po. So, yung mga organizations po natin like the PNAA and the NAPA, sila naman po yung ating mga network po that would at least connect us to the Filipino diaspora who has intentions to return to the country. So yun po, yung pong retirement community, hindi lang po siya para bang tirahan. This is envisioned as a social enterprise community na ang kung mga Filipino diaspora natin would be the one to own and manage the facilities po.
Okay. So, ang ano niyan, ang concept ba niyan, Sir Manny, is hindi siya yung parang nursing home. Isa siyang parang sabihin na natin parang subdivision na design siya talaga for, of course, elderly residents. Tapos nandun na lahat ng amenities na kakailanganin nila. Ganun ba yan?
Tama po, Sir Aris. Bali po, tatlo po yung magiging category po ng ating mga residents for this community. Meron po tayong independent living. Ito po yung mga able-bodied po na ating mga seniors po na kaya pa nilang manirahan on their own. Tapos po, they can purchase properties po doon, live there. Tapos, complete po yung requirements po, facilities po natin para po sa mga needs po na. We will have hospitals dyan, may mga convenience stores dyan, may public market dyan. So, malapit na po sa kanila yon. That's for the independent living po. Doon po sa mga assisted living po, ito po yung kailangan na 24/7, meron po tayong nangangalaga sa kanila. Pero, kaya pa rin naman po, hindi na kailangan forever na nasa hospitals po. Then yung po talagang intensive needs po nila, ito po yung mga nasa hospitals po with the complete professionals po natin coming from the Filipino diaspora that could cater and provide services to them. So, parang 3-in-1 siya, Sir Aris, na pwede sa lahat. Whether kung ano bang kategorya mo, ikaw ba ay kaya mo pang mabuhay on your own o kailangan mo ng assistance as you go about your daily life or kailangan mo ng intensive medical needs. So, merong ipoprovide na facility para sa ganito. Doon po mismo sa loob ng community.
Yan bang ganyang concept kauna-unahan dito sa Pilipinas o meron ng pakaparehas na yun, continuing care facility?
Meron naman po, sir. Marami na po. Actually, ang Philippine Retirement Authority po, ini-encourage po nila at nag-accredit po sila ng mga facilities na ganito and communities. Pero this will be the first na ang mag-initiate po mismo yung mga Filipino diaspora. Kasi nga, as a social enterprise, we encourage them to own and manage the community itself. So, ito yung first time na for the diaspora and by the diaspora po ang nangyayari po.
So, bukod dyan sa San Pablo na project na yan, may binabalak bang magtayo ng kapareha sa facility sa ibang lugar?
Tama po yan, sir. Kasi po, this will be a pilot project po natin. So, kung makikita po natin na successful po yung ating project po, kasi 5-year study po ito, sir. The next 5 years po, madidevelop natin yung community. Pag naging successful po ito, maglalagay naman po tayo dun sa mga favored destination po ng ating mga Filipino diaspora po. Kasi alam naman po natin, yung iba dyan, mostly would request na dapat doon sa aming region, dapat doon sa aming province, meron kayong ganito na project. So, parang it's more like a diaspora-driven needs na kung kailangan po natin magtayo sa Bicol at merong malaking need para doon sa ganitong community, definitely po our Filipino diaspora investors will be the one to answer to that and then mag-establish po tayo doon ng retirement community rin po, katulad po ng San Pablo.
Ano ang magiging papel ng CFO dyan sa project na yan?
Ang CEO po will be the lead policy agents po with regards to the retirement community. Kasi po tayo po yung mga constituents po natin. Sila po yung target po na client po ng ating retirement community. Yung mga dumaan sa ating report sa pre-departure services, tapos naging successful na sila, established sa ibang bansa. And now they're in their 20 years, they wanted to return to the country. So tayo po ang, ano ba yung mga needs po nila? We could come up with policy intervention, we could come up with a partnership or a collaboration with other government agencies po para po masagot po yung mga needs po ng ating mga Filipino diaspora. So, CTF po, yan ang magiging role natin as the lead agency for policy direction po with regards to providing services sa ating mga long-term migrants who would like to return home and reintegrate into local communities.
Siguro bago tayo mag-break po dito sa Bridges on Air, matanong ko na lang kay Sir Manny, meron na po bang estimate kung kailan po kumbaga makukumpleto yung kasi site visit pa lang po ito, yes, kailan ba magiging operational itong retirement community na ito?
Sa ngayon po kasi ma'am, nasa 5-year study program po ito ma'am. Ngayon pong taon po, yun po yung market study po. Right now po, we are collating po mga information, market study, surveys po para sa mga Filipino diaspora. Kung ano ba yung mga needs po nila that we could include doon sa master plan ng ating retirement community. So, pagkatapos po niyan, yung pong magka-crowdsourcing po tayo ng funds para po doon sa mga Filipino diaspora would like to invest in the community. Pero una na pong nag-provide po ng funding po nito yung Sorosoro Ibaba Development Cooperative kasi po, yun nga po, matagal na po silang established. More than 30 years na po sila at billion peso po yung net worth nila. So, meron pong sapat po na pondo para po maging operational at ma-implement po itong ating retirement community. So, from year 1 to year 2 po, yan po yung mangyayari po natin. Then year 3 and 4 po yung pong construction po and development po ng site. Year 5 po yung masasabi po natin na operational na po yung ating retirement community. Kasi we would have already the hospitals, the houses or the residences, yung mga needs po ng ating mga seniors po, like kung merong kailangan convenience store dyan, meron pong public market po dyan, yun na po yun. So by year 5 po natin makikita po yan. Pero right now po, we enjoin everyone to support this project po, na especially yung ating mga Filipino diaspora na may mga family members who are planning to retire and return to the country. Ito sigurado po na maaalagaan po kayo kasi alam niyo naman po yan, ma'am, alam niyo yan, sir, na iba po yung special attention na ibinibigay ng mga medical professionals na Pilipino compared to other nationalities. Kaya mas gugustuhin nila ang mag-aalaga sa kanila, mga sa kanila, ay mga Filipino medical professionals.
Mm. Ayan. At siguro ito na lang regarding sa balitang ibinigay sa atin ni Sir Manny. Sir Manny, thank you so much po sa paghahatid niyo po ng magandang balita para sa ating mga Filipino migrants dito sa programang Bridges on Air.
Okay, maraming salamat po ulit po sa binigay niyo pong pagkakataon sa akin para po maibahagi po ito yung magandang balita para sa ating mga Filipino diaspora na nagbabalak pong bumalik ng Pilipinas at mag-retire lang dito permanent. Maraming salamat po ulit at magandang hapon po sa inyo.
Tama, Sir Manny. Malapit. Pwede tayo tumira siguro dyan.
Sabi mo nga, Sir Aris, kanina para bang ando na tayo, papalapit na tayo doon sa area na yun. Isang kantahin na po tayo.
Kabats ko yan Sir Manny.
Ayun. So, ating nakasama ang ating CFO Community Correspondent na nag-ulat pa mula sa San Pablo, Laguna. Walang iba kundi si Sir Manny Pipe. At sa pagbabalik ng ating programang Bridges on Air, makakasama na natin ang isang documentary photographer and photojournalist at isa rin kumbaga siya ay Professor Emeritus. Ayan, sa isang university sa Sacramento. Ang daming niyang achievements at ang dami rin niyang inspiring stories na ibabahagi sa atin. Ayun. At yan po sa pagbabalik ng ating programang Bridges on Air para sa ating segmentong Pinoy Ako.
Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Love life online? Baka human trafficking yan. Makialam, itimbre mo. Tumawag sa 1343 para humingi ng tulong. Paalala mula sa Interagency Council Against Trafficking.
Pinoy Ako! Tampok ang natatanging kaling at dedikasyon ng Pinoy na nagbigay karangalan sa inang bayan at nagsilbing inspirasyon at modelo sa kapwa Pinoy saan man sa mundo. Pinoy Ako! Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Tayo nagbabalik na sa ating programang Bridges on Air. At partikular na nasa Pinoy Ako segment na tayo kung saan ating tinatampok ang ating mga kababayan na kumbaga nag-thrive sa iba't ibang bansa. At sa puntong ito ay makakasama na natin Sir Ares, ang isang documentary photographer at photojournalist. Walang iba kundi si Sir James Sobredo. Sir James, welcome po sa Bridges on Air. Si Steph Vicente po ito ng Radyo Pilipinas World Service at kasama po natin si Sir Ares Gutierrez ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Sir James?
Hello, Dr. James.
Oh, good to join everybody.
Ay, Dr. James. Sir, yung mahabang panahon po ninyong idinokumento yung buhay ng mga Pilipinong migrante sa Hong Kong, sa Barcelona at sa US. Ano po ang pinakamahalagang pagbabago ang nakita ninyo sa mukha ng mga Pilipinong migrante?
Sa Hong Kong at saka Barcelona, it's a little different, ha? Kasi sa Hong Kong, malaking mga transition because now from 1997 to the current government, they have some major political changes. I'll stay away from that because I still want to go to Hong Kong.
Yes,
But
of course.
There are differences now. I think the biggest issue in Hong Kong is after 97, there was a large demand for domestic workers.
Okay.
Kasi sa Hong Kong, when they transition over, akala mga tao, we are now doing very well. We are in the financial services. What do we need to do to show that we have made it? Kailangan natin mga domestic helper. So that's the beginning of the large recruitment of Filipino domestic worker. At saka ngayon, hindi lang Filipino, maraming mga domestic workers galing sa Indonesia, Okay, so yun that's the big difference. At saka sa Hong Kong po, they are not allowed residency. Mahirap ang permanent residency sa Hong Kong. So sa Hong Kong, mga 2-year service, pagkatapos ng service, uuwi na sila sa
Uwi na.
Pilipinas. Pero sa Spain, totally different planet. Kasi sa Spain, permanent resident sila at saka pagkatapos
Yeah.
ng dalawang 2 years, they can become Spanish citizens. So there it's very, very different po.
Mm. Sir James, mabalikan ko lamang po no ang kumbaga ang inyong pagsisimula. Kasi kayo po ay isang documentary photographer and photojournalist na nagse-specialize sa photograph no ng Filipino global migration. Sir James, paano po ba kayo kumbaga paano po nagsimula ang inyong interest sa documentary photography at photojournalism?
Okay. Totoo ha. I always wanted to be a photographer. Pero mahirap. Mahirap. It's super hard. The salary is very low.
Yes.
So I kept my day job. My day job is I am a professor at California State University. But the entire time, I did freelance journalism and I used photography in my lectures and research about Filipinos globally. So when I'm in Hong Kong, I photograph and I interviewed, formal oral history interview, the workers in Hong Kong. Pareho rin sa Barcelona. I also interview formally and photograph their community. And then I integrate it into my work. Ngayon, retired na ako. So full-time documentary photographer at saka freelance journalist. So I'm really enjoying my second career as a documentary photographer and photojournalist, as well as a journalist.
Pero alam mo, Steph, si Dr. James, kaya I'm calling him Dr. James kasi meron siyang PhD in ethnic studies. So talagang yung ginagawa siguro ni Dr. James na documentary photography is also directly connected with his academic expertise.
Tama po. That's true. Tama. Yes. And so what I do is I also have my students participate. They also go to their communities to photograph the Filipino community in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in Sacramento. And then at the end of the year, meron tayo ng exhibit. Sa lahat mga estudyante, they put together.
Okay.
I curate the exhibit. So I integrated it as a formal part of the curriculum. Pero totoo ang sinabi mo po, I am a traditional university professor at scholar.
Ayun. Bali, tawagin ko na rin kayo ng Dr. James. No? Given
sige,
the,
sige.
kumbaga, yung academic milestones and credentials niyo po. No? Dr. James, kasi kanina, nabanggit natin, no, napag-usapan natin, yung inyong pagsisimula no, ng pagkakaroon ng interest dun sa documentary photography and photojournalism. Ngayon, kasi ang inyong specialization ay yung Filipino global migration. So, ano po ang nagtulak sa inyo na ito po no, ang pagtuunan nyo ng pansin no, sa kumbaga yung inyong pagkukwento gamit ang mga larawan?
Okay, that's an excellent question. In the university, we do both. I do both traditional research. Halimbawa sa National Archives, sa mga libraries. We do formal research, the use of government documentation. We do that. But to make it exciting, kailangan na we need to tell the story, and the photos of the people that live in those communities. So to me, it was just an extension of my work. And totoo, it's good scholarship. So sometimes it is referred to as community-based scholarship and multimedia documentation. So hindi lang na larawan, but we also, minsan, we videotape the interviews and then I have my students type it. This is very traditional, in World War II. The soldiers in the U.S. were fighting in the war. And the reporters interviewed them. What they found out was that the audience were very interested in their stories.
Yes.
And this is the beginning of formal oral history as a scholarship. So hindi lang formal, na archives, government documents, statistics, So we also add oral history interviews. So yung project ko sa Hong Kong at saka sa Barcelona actually started in 2013 when I went to POEA for my sabbatical year, and I started interviewing Filipinos that are going abroad, mga OFWs, no? So for me, I do three things. I interview them before they left, before they left the Philippines, while they're in the process of leaving, and then I also went to Hong Kong and Barcelona to interview the Filipinos abroad. In Hong Kong, it's OFWs. In Barcelona's, they are immigrants. So that's what I did my entire time.
Parang
But
yung
now I'm
ginagawa
just
ni Dr.
interested.
James, Steph, is
Oo.
parang ang imagine mo parang combination ng National Geographic at saka yung mga reality TV. Parang ganun.
Tama.
Kasi talagang sinusundan ng buhay
Oo,
talaga.
sinusundan yung talagang parang first person account na rin na
Yeah.
ano yung buhay nung migrant. Kasi ano yun yung alam mo yung psyche rin ng mag-abroad is very anxious yan before going abroad. So ngayon na may access ka sa information, may YouTube at kung ano-ano pa sa internet. Research
Ngayon
ng
may YouTube,
research
pero
yan.
dati wala.
So yung ginagawa ni Dr. James, ang laking bagay niyan kasi kung kunyari ako ay pupunta ng Hong Kong, hindi naman ako magsa-search ng Hong Kong Disneyland.
No.
Ang titingnan ko ano ba yung magiging buhay ko doon. Yung mga yung mga reality talaga doon kasi sa Hong Kong, 'di ba Dr. James, yung mga accommodation doon very cramped mostly.
Tama.
So, iba yung hindi Disneyland yung pupuntahan mo eh. And then in
Tama.
Barcelona siguro ganun din. Iba din yung buhay doon lalo na hindi naman tayo Spanish speaking. Although we have Spanish heritage pero hindi naman tayo kakastila.
May mga words lang na kumbaga parang inadapt.
Na-assimilate na lang sa atin.
The older immigrants, nahirapan sila magsalita ng Espanyol or in Barcelona, Catalan, no? So minsan magtagalog lang mag-interview ako. Magtagalog lang. Pero the young kids, nahirapan sila sa Tagalog. So sanay sila sa Spanish at sa Catalan.
Dr. James, dahil nabanggit nyo yung mga projects nyo po sa Hong Kong at Barcelona, curious lang po kami, ano po ba yung masasabi nyo na pinakamahalagang natutunan nyo mula dun sa mga projects nyo po sa Hong Kong at Barcelona?
Can you explain a little more just so I can answer properly? Pasensya ha.
Kumbaga ano po yung mga lessons na nakuha niyo po from your experience po in doing the projects po sa Hong Kong at Barcelona.
Mga realizations siguro.
Yes po.
Po, Hong Kong was very hard for me. Okay? Hong Kong was very, very hard for me. Because the Filipinos leave the Philippines not because they want to leave. Totoo they leave because they want to maintain their families. Nahirapan sila dito, no? Dito sa Pilipinas, hanap buhay, ganon. But the reality is, practically 70% of the people, the women that I interviewed, their marriages are over. That was the hardest thing for me to deal with. Also, it's a good thing now, maroon tayo ng FaceTime. Dati sa 2013, may, Skype.
Skype,
So
yes,
now
yes,
it's
yes.
okay, no? That it's better. But totoo it was very, very hard for me because 70% of the women I met, their marriages were over. That was,
Social
for me,
cost
that's the
talaga.
hardest thing to deal with. And they went to preserve their families, but it turns out their families are not being preserved. And of course, the data, they continue this over and over because when they go back to the Philippines, nahirapan sila, the money is very low, so they go back again. Sa Spain, sa Barcelona, they literally won the lottery because, they have legal citizenship. They are allowed to recruit and petition their relatives. So to me, there are worlds apart. The Hong Kong one, honestly, that was very hard for me. I'm going to stop there because those are the two stark differences. I think, I'm going to stop there. One more thing, very important. Namit ko mga babae that no matter where they are, they're like, we're not going to be abused. The people that are our employers, their bosses, are not going to abuse us. To me, that was the most striking. Their spirit to maintain their integrity and humanity. That to me was quite amazing. And some of them, po, while they were there, they actually got certified in another trade, and they're able to move to the next level instead of domestic worker to a more professional career somewhere else. That was
Nakalimutan ko yung
positive thing
meron
that I
isang Dr. James, no? Meron parang sa Hong Kong din yata nang galing yung there was this Filipina domestic helper who learned photography and became a famous photographer na rin. I just forgot her
Yes,
name,
yes.
pero sa Hong Kong din yata nang galing yun. Parang
Yes,
ganun
yes,
yung
yes.
kwento nyo eh.
Yes. My good friend Rick Racamora actually was the one that kind of helped her with her career.
Okay.
Yes. And Rick Racamora is, a very famous
Yes, yes.
documentary photographer. And today, she is very, very, very successful with a lot of honors and awards and so on. Yeah, so her is the, very good story, very heartwarming story.
Pero sir, mapunta tayo doon sa yung ginagawa ninyong project ngayon sa Smithsonian. Kanina lang binabasa ko yung background nung inyong project na dinocument nyo and nag-curate din kayo nung yung mga kagamitan ng mga naunang Filipino migrants. So, paano ba natin ikikwento yun from the beginning and ano po yung nangyayari ngayon dyan sa project na yan?
Yeah, I actually am very, very proud of that project. To be fair, I play a minor role in it. And the role that I played is, even though I'm a professor po, I practice Eskrima. I practiced Eskrima for
okay.
almost 10.
Is that the
And
same as 12 pares, yung eskrima na yan?
Yes, siempre,
okay.
siempre. And our Grand Master was very obsessed with preserving Filipino history and culture. Hindi lang kami mga martial artists, ha? We really believe in preserving Filipino community history and culture. So halimbawa, they would perform at our university. I will have them guest lecture in my class to demonstrate the importance of, Filipino martial arts. We moved to a practice place that was called the Dagohoy Lodge. These are fraternal organizations. The name of the organization is Legionarios del Trabajo.
Okay.
So they are a Masonic lodge that is, how shall I say it? It's a little bit complicated because they are a Masonic lodge recognized by the Spanish government.
Okay.
But when the American government transitioned, they never joined the American Masonic Lodge. So they're in that in-between world. So in the basement were all these maletas, luggage that were there for over 100 years. And Grandmaster Tony Samara asked us, pagkatapos ng practice, he said, come on guys, we need to clean the basement. When we opened the basement, we realized there were all these luggages that were preserved for literally over 100 years. And then Tony just cleaned it up, and with the help of Master Joel Juanitas, cleaned it up, and he created a mini exhibit. Unfortunately, si Grandmaster Tony Samara died, and the luggage became the possession of probably the most significant and the most successful Filipino organization in California. It's called Little Manila Rising. Because
LMR.
Stockton is the place of the first and largest Filipino community in the United States. And we want to preserve the memory of that early community. So from there, Little Manila Rising, under the directorship of Dylan Delvo, and co-founded with Dr. Don Mabalon, they asked, and I am a member of Little Manila Rising, they asked the Oakland Museum to help us curate the artifacts so that we can catalog it properly. That is when we realized we had a very important historical discovery. Eventually, the staff that helped us moved to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And from there, word got around that the Filipinos in Stockton have this treasure of Asian Filipino artifacts. And Dr. Sam Vong, PhD in history, came over, looked at the artifacts, and he said, "This is an amazing historical find." And they officially examined it, and they decided to acquire some of the artifacts, one luggage out of something like 22, and then that formed the basis of the exhibit, How Can You Forget Me? Kasi embroidered on the pillow is a sign that says, "How can you forget me?" Right? One of the people here. And the importance of this is the first time ever that an Asian exhibit occurred at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. First time ito, never happened to any other Asian group. Mga Chinese, mga Japanese, Korean. We are the first. So that is important for us. And working closely with Little Manila and Dylan Delvo, and with Dr. Sam Vong, the exhibit was envisaged and finally formally opened last November 2025. And normally, mga exhibit is very short. But this is the first time po that we have our own room, an entire room that is dedicated to an Asian group, specifically a Filipino group. And
Dr. James, para lang sa benefit ng ating mga nakikinig sa radyo, kasi hindi naman nila nakikita yung video natin. Ano po yung mga ano po yung sample sa mga artifacts na nakuha niyo sa mga maleta? Anong klaseng mga gamit ang nakita nyo doon?
Okay. The most important is we have entire suits and uniforms. We have shoes. We have personal belongings like combs, shaving cream, and we had a lot of letters. We have identification of their ID, their social security card, their military records when they fought for the U.S. Army to help liberate the Philippines. We have asparagus knives because the Filipinos working in the economy in Stockton worked in the agriculture industry as asparagus workers. That's what the labor market was, and that's what we're very
agricultural.
Mga katulad mga sakadas.
Yeah. So, ibig sabihin pala, Dr. James, yung panahon na yun, sabi nyo kasi may mga sulat. So, they still communicate with their families in the Philippines kahit na nandun na sila sa US at that time.
Yeah. Sir Ceres, this is the importance. We have a lot of letters coming to the US.
Okay.
But we don't have any records of the responses. So that is where I came in. I've been with this project from the very beginning. I'm not a major player. I was just there documenting the entire thing, which is what I do as a documentary photographer. So what we are doing with the CFO's help, and I'm very, very thankful for the CFO's help, is we are looking for the living relatives of the people featured in the exhibit. Kasi sa Smithsonian, that is the American story, the Filipino-American story. So ang kailangan, we need to tell the Philippine side of the story, right?
Yes,
This is my project. We need, kasi it's not just one-way migration, no? It's not like, the Filipinos, they leave the country to abandon it. Hindi ganon, huh? It is a two-way street, right? And the communication, continues. So my attempt is to look at the Philippine side of the story, and which is very important kasi ngayon, it's still continuing. So what are the connections? And what are the differences, and what are the historical significance of this migration, beginning in the 1910s and continuing until today.
So sana po nakaabot ang research nyo ngayon, yung local research sa Philippines?
Totoo ha, it was stuck. Even I work very closely with some of the staff. I work very closely with Sam Vong in the Smithsonian. They were stuck. They had a Filipino research assistant working with them, and they also were stuck. They came to a dead end. I came to a dead end, even though I lived in the Philippines. I came to a dead end, and I finally asked the CFO office, Secretary Ang. Maraming salamat kay Secretary Ang for helping, and finally we are able to make progress. So this is the significance and the important role of the collaboration with Secretary Ang and the staff and the CFO, because working together, we're finally able to make progress. The American side, they were stuck. They came to a dead end.
Pero
But-
dito yung sa Pilipinas, umusad, no?
Tama! We are making progress. I am so happy because I was just there at the official opening at the reception in January. And I talked with the staff, I talked with the curator who basically direct the exhibit. He said, we got nowhere. And ako rin, pag sa Pilipinas, I got nowhere until swerte nga na-meet ko si Secretary Ang, and I said, please, I'm stuck in my work. Can you help me with this research? And now we are actually making progress and making connections with the living relatives of the people from Cebu, Cordova, Cebu, Dimiao, Bohol, and it looks like Negros Oriental, pero the reality is he was born in Siquijor. At saka we came to a dead end in Pilar, Bataan, but my hope is we will be able to find something there. So, salamat, the CFO. I'll be honest, I am impressed by your efficiency. We were stuck in the U.S. and the CFO staff were invaluable. Manny was just great. He's able to find the living relatives.
Siguro,
So
Steph,
that is-
tutulong na
that is-
rin ako dyan dahil sa yung dating mayor ng Dimiao, Bohol ay ninang ko.
Ay,
Ay, totoo? Kilala mo po?
pwede.
Ay, totoo ba?
Yes, that's true, Dr. James.
I will be
I'll get
there.
in touch with you
I will-
after the show.
Yeah, I will be there in March, and I visited all these places, by the way, before. I've already been to all these places, but in March I will do the formal interview and write the article, and it will be presented at the national conference later in July 2026 in Washington D.C. So it will be presented in Washington D.C.
Pati
The
yung
work
RP
product.
Cebu, makatulong din. No?
Pwede. Yung ating sister station.
May sister station kami, Dr. James, yung Radyo Pilipinas.
Totoo ba?
May station
okay.
po kami sa Cebu. So,
Oo.
alam ko nararating yung Cordova. So, baka pwedeng makatulong yung mga kasama namin sa Radyo Pilipinas Cebu.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
Med-
That is
Go ahead
that is
pa.
our project. And the thing that we have to be very proud of is pasensya ha. Normally the Chinese and the Japanese and the Koreans, they have their act together. But look at this. We're the first ones to have a major exhibit. Our own room. We've
Oh,
never
yeah.
had that in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. That's quite an accomplishment.
Siguro realization yung Steph sa side ng US na napakalaki talaga ng ambag ng Pilipino sa total history ng Amerika.
Kaya nga, lalo-lalo na ngayon, 4.5 million ang mga individual na may Filipino blood na nasa US. Talagang malaki ang ambag ng ating Filipino diaspora doon. Ayun. And speaking of that po, no, Dr. James, kasi kung para dun sa mga hindi nakakaalam, no, kasi napag-usapan natin to off the record, no, kanina, no, na naka-based sa San Francisco si Dr. James, particularly dun sa Stockton. So dun sa 3 dekada, no, na inyo pong dino-document ang Filipino-American community sa US, ano yung mga masasabi niyo po na pinaka malalaking pagbabago, no, na inyong nasaksihan sa ating Filipino community dyan?
Okay. I am very happy on the one hand to answer this. You know, I arrived in the Philippines after I left the Philippines. My mom immigrated, and I was very young. I was only 4 years old. When we arrived in Guam, we were very poor. Nako, ang bahay namin walang indoor plumbing Can you imagine that in America? Wala kami ng indoor plumbing. The first bagyo, the house was destroyed, you know. So I grew up very poor. Swerte nga matalino ako. I was able to do well in university, got a full scholarship, you know, did my master's and my doctorate. And swerte nga, I landed a, 10-year university professorship. The biggest change that I see is once upon a time, Filipinos in the US, we were seen as second to the stellar Chinese, Japanese. You know, today, alam mo naman, today, for the last 20 years, the Filipinos in California have the second largest median income of all ethnic groups.
Oh.
This is a secret that not many people know. At saka mahirap sa ethnic studies kasi, you know, our story is we're not supposed to brag that we're doing well. Pero totoo, we have the second highest income. Just think of that. The first are the Asian Indians. And tayo, mga Filipinos, you know, we have the second. So my family, I have seen that with my family arriving as very poor immigrants and to everyone doing well. My wife is from Aklan. You know, my wife was the San Francisco Bay Regional Administrator for the state of California. She is the daughter of a Filipino migrant farm worker from Aklan, and his entire life, migrant worker siya, you know, sakada. He never owned a home. And today, you know, we own our own home. We actually have 2 homes here. And that is the biggest change, the socioeconomic success of Filipinos. But the difference is we don't get a lot of attention. And on the one hand, that's very good. And again, I would like to bring attention to Little Manila. Little Manila is one of the most successful community organizations for Filipinos and Asians in the entire state of California. And the model that they have is these are young people who are very together organizationally and very together fiscally. Little Manila has a staff of 22 full-time workers. They are community-based. You know, this is an organization that is not from the doctors, nurses, and engineers. This is an organization founded by the children and grandchildren of Filipino farm workers. But they are very, very successful. They have, you know, they have a multi-million-dollar operating budget.
Wow.
And they are the ones that really, you know, we should also celebrate in terms of the success of the Filipino community in the United States. That to me is the biggest thing, to see how well we have done coming as very poor immigrants to the United States. Again, when I arrived here, we don't have indoor plumbing. You know, the bathroom was outside, a hole in the ground that my father dug. And from there to where we are now, It's quite an accomplishment. And I hope that there is a lesson there of, for all Filipinos, not just in the United States, but all over the world, that through dedication, honesty, good ethics, good finances, we can be very, very successful. And that is the story that I preach over and over. And I also preach that if you make it, it is very important that you contribute and help the Filipino community again. That is the lesson and story I preach over and over. It is the message also that Little Manila Rising say over and over. Pasensya nga my lecture, ha?
Yeah, actually,
that is-
Dr. James, yung kinikwento mo sa amin ngayon, ganun po yung pivot ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas, na we have to engage with the Filipinos who already migrated, who are already permanent residents overseas, para tumulong naman sa bansa. Kasi successful na nga karamihan sa abroad. So maybe tulungan naman natin yung pinanggalingan natin. Almost we have the same track. We're treading the same track.
Yeah. And totoo ha, that is why I decided to retire in the Philippines. That is for the last 3 years I've been living in the Philippines. This is exactly why. Let's be honest, I can live here or anywhere else in the world and just be happy. But I think in order to have a good life, you also need to give back to society. And the society that I decided to give back to is the Philippine society. And in the Philippines, I work with a lot of very good Filipino people. Very, very good Filipino people that unselfishly help other Filipinos who are not as fortunate. And that is something I am very proud of. And that is a lesson and story that I repeat over and over again. Give back to your community. Give back to the Filipinos that are not as fortunate as you are. But don't make it a dependency relationship. No?
Yes, of course.
Make it like, I am Santa Claus. I'm going to give you lots of money. No, that's wrong. You have to help them become self-sufficient so that they can move to the next level and become completely independent and self-sufficient.
Masaya mag-retire dito, Dr. James. Masaya sa Pilipinas.
And follow up lang po regarding do sa inyo pong naikwento at naibahagi dito sa Bridges on Air. Ngayon, bilang isang Pilipino na lumaki at nagtrabaho sa iba't ibang bansa, at yan, nabanggit nyo inyong karanasan while being, kumbaga, belonging to the Filipino-American community, at dinodocument nyo po ito mismo. Paano naka-apekto po inyong personal experiences sa inyong mga proyekto?
Okay. Again, I seem to repeat the story. For us, we feel that you have an obligation to give back to your community. And that is the message. No, don't just become the next millionaire or whatever. Don't just become personally successful and brag to the world. For us, give back to our community. Halimbawa, sa Little Manila, the young people, I'll give you one very specific story. I sit on a lot of scholarship committees that give away thousands of dollars, okay? And when I see applicants at Sacramento State University, or even faculty that we are hiring, and it's very extremely difficult to become a professor in the US. Akala mga tao, I'll just apply. Oh, no, it doesn't work that way. We will have 120 applicants. Lahat sila may PhD. We're only going to hire one person. And I remember one time we had a person. She wasn't actually even Filipino. She was Mexican. And the position was for a Mexican professor, Mexican American. When I saw that she worked with Little Manila, her position elevated very quickly in the hiring process. So for us, not only do we help the young Filipinos that need the financial help through scholarship, but also during the hiring process, I look for people that serve their community, that have a track record of helping their community. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. We look for people that are not going to be selfish and just, do selfish things. We want people that truly will give back to the community and have a history of serving their community. I don't know if I answer your question specifically, but that is the ethics that we work with here. The executive director, Dylan Delvo, and I are very close friends, and we talk about this in the Filipino community and how it is important for us to have a new model, of a new model of doing business. The honesty, the integrity, the open books that you can check our financial records and see where every money goes to. And that is the ethics for us here. And that is what is on my mind every time I work with other organizations. I want ko if I answer your question,
Alam mo,
correctly.
Steph, kung i-capsulize mo yung sinasabi ni Dr. James, ang hinahanap nila yung mga taong hindi plastic.
And hindi lang, they're not there to enrich themselves. no?
Tama,
We want to be successful. We want to be financially successful. Remember, Little Manila has a multi-million-dollar operating budget.
Oo.
We want to be successful while helping our community. Does that make sense?
Very much, sir. Very much.
Yes. Yes.
Hindi na, nakikinig na lang talaga kami sa iyo kasi ang dami naming na-absorb na nuggets of wisdom sa ginagawa ninyo eh.
Talaga nagre-reflect yung academic credentials ni Dr. James.
Yeah. At saka, sa US, I have managed a $250 million fund as part of the budget committee of the university. The integrity you need in order to be, I was elected to that position. We need that integrity. We really, we need that integrity. And that is something I carry with me in the US. I carry with me in my work with the Filipino community in California. And when I work with nonprofits, mga NGOs sa Pilipinas, I see the same thing. And we have these discussions over and over. I won't get into the political issue, but how do we give a good example of economic ethics, professional ethics, and integrity, given what we see in the news? And for me, I come back to that is how we functioned in California, in the US, at least at my side. That is how we functioned with Little Manila Rising. And that is how we function with the people I work with in the Philippines. It is very important to have the professionalism as well as the integrity.
So, your vision is to transform Little Manila into a greater Manila.
Pasensya po, I am just a follower, So I never took the leadership position in Little Manila. I am just a member. Actually, what I am very proud, pasensya for saying this, I'm very proud that when they got started, ngayon ang budget nila, multi-million, no? But when they got started, right, grassroots ito, I was the largest single donor. I was the largest single donor to Little Manila. But now they don't need my money because they have, they're quite successful.
Mayaman na sila.
So I always challenge people. I'm a professor. I'm not a Silicon Valley multimillionaire, but I gave thousands of dollars. And I challenge people, you need to do the same thing. You cannot just talk about your community and how important it is without giving financial resources.
Sir, may plano po ba kayo na yung mga ginawa ninyong documentation mai-exhibit din dito sa Pilipinas para naman makita din ng mga kababayan ninyo yung mga pinaghirapan
Sana yun ang
ninyo?
plano. Sana. I will be happy to work with this with the CFO and make that happen. And of course that's a difficult process, and it needs to have realistic discussions. But that is the plan. My plan is I have exhibited in museums in San Francisco, Sacramento, Stockton, my work. My hope is I can do the same in the Philippines. I will be so happy if Filipinos in the Philippines can actually see the work that I do and not just, people in America.
At
But Sir Ceres, tamang sinabi mo, if we can do both, if we can bring a small part of what happened in Washington D.C. to the Philippines, that will be great. But that's a serious discussion, though. I mean, we can't just let it. Yeah, that will involve a serious discussion.
Okay, ilalagay natin yan sa wish list.
Papasok sa wish list. Ayan. Ayun po, no. And speaking of syempre yung mga exhibitions, no, na hopefully mangyari nga po, no, dito sa Pilipinas. Pero matanong ko lang po, no, meron pa po ba kayong mga masasabi o may tuturing na dream projects na gusto niyo po pong gawin sa mga susunod na taon?
In the immediate future, no. Except maybe what I already mentioned, my work has been exhibited here in America. I would love for it to be exhibited in Manila. But the other reason I say no in the immediate future is because of this. There are amazing Filipino people doing amazing things in the Philippines. And I have been so lucky to be affiliated with them. And we have this discussion all the time. What did we do right in America? And what are we doing correct right now in the Philippines? And sometimes, alam mo naman, sa news media, no? If it bleeds, it leads. So bad stories get all the attention.
Yes.
But totoo, I am working with amazing people in the Philippines that are doing really amazing things as well. So, and I am very happy to be a contributor to those projects. And the message for me, swerte ako nga since my retirement years. Half the year I travel around the world. Naswerte ako. And so when I meet Filipinos around the world, they always say, there's corruption in the Philippines. I say, wait. There is. But let me tell you about the good things that is happening. So I always balance that. And I said, okay, there is. But let me tell you about the good things that some Filipinos are doing. And for me, I think we need to focus on those good things that Filipinos are doing. I don't know if I answered your question directly.
Yes.
But that is the, that I have.
Gusto man namin na pahabain, no, itong interview natin with Dr. James. Pero siguro ito na lang yung last para sa kanya nga panghuling mensahe. Sigurado maraming mai-inspire sa kwento ni Dr. James. So ito na lamang po, ano ang maipapayo nyo po sa mga kapwa natin Pilipino or even sa mga kabataan natin dyan, no, na gustong pumasok po, no, dito sa documentary photography?
Excellent question. So I mentioned that I work with some very good people. My dear friend is going to be very disappointed that I mentioned his name. One of my good friends is this young man. He is in his mid-50s, who builds libraries in the Philippines. He has built over 100. He does not take financial donations. He only takes books as donations. And one of the things, he's one of the people I work with. And one of the things that I did is I did a photo documentary project for the community in Sagada, in Angaan, Sagada. And these are women that own their own businesses, mostly as tour operators and as coffee plantation operators. Gusto nila mag-document ng business nila, no? So they wanted to learn. They asked Oliver, hey, can someone teach us documentary photography? So I did a workshop for them. But that is one thing that I have done. You don't need very expensive equipment. The workshop I gave is how to use your cell phone.
Wow.
And the principles of composition, documentary photography, lighting, and the whole introduction to photography, just using your cell phone. So the next level for me with them is I actually hope when I return to have an exhibit of their work so that the community can see what they are doing. They are mostly women. They are business owners. They are entrepreneurs, and they wanted to work with us, to the next level. So it's those little things for me that really help. And how do we do it without the very, I carry around thousands of dollars of equipment. Those folks don't have that. What they have is their cell phone. So I showed them how to create amazing photography using their cell phone. So I don't know if I answered your question, but it is that. My plan is to work with the people and help communities that really need our help. My good friend only creates libraries that are not served by anyone, by NGOs or the government. He only helps communities that no one serves. So you will not see his library in a wealthy community.
Galing, ang ganda nung ginagawa nila doon, Steph.
Kaya nga, very kumbaga nakaka-inspire, no?
Oo. Yung sinabi ko people, every time I meet them, the first thing they do is tell all the terrible stories about the Philippines. And I will say, I'm not going to argue with you, but let me tell you what I see. And I tell them the inspirational, good work that Filipinos are doing.
Kaya alam mo, Steph, napaka-swerte namin sa CFO na na-meet namin si Dr. James. Kasi ang
Salamat lang
daming
po.
pwedeng gawin, ang daming pwedeng pag-usapan at i-roll out ng mga programa na based lang sa ideas nila at yung mga ginagawa na nila.
Kaya pero yun na nga, kailangan na natin tapusin. Sayang sayang di pa natin.
Dami pa sana.
Pero we're running out of material
Pero
time.
baka mga future episodes.
Kaya nga, by part 2.
Oo.
Baka may part 2.
Sige.
Natin uli.
Certainly game ako.
Looking forward po. Maraming salamat po, Dr. James, sa pagsama niyo po
Siguro,
dito.
I hope to see you in person when I am back there next month.
Oo nga.
Pwede.
Lapit na yun.
Baka pwede natin i-live studio guest si Dr.
Dito
James.
sa World Service, ba?
Pwede. May kung hindi dito sa Bridges, baka
O
pwede
ibang
sa
programs ng World Service, pwede.
baka pwede doon sa serbisyo ng din, no?
Pero maigsi lang yun. Kailangan mahaba
Oo
talaga.
nga. Kailangan talaga very mahaba dahil marami tayong pag-uusapan. Ayun, sige po. Maraming salamat po, Dr. James, sa pagsama niyo po dito sa Bridges on Air. Sa uulitin po. God bless po.
Okay, salamat. Maraming
Mabuhay,
salamat rin.
Mabuhay po. At ang ating po nakasama, si Dr. James Sobredo. Isa po siyang documentary photographer at photojournalist. Grabe, ang dami pa sana pero ayun, may tayo, naubusan na tayo ng oras.
Hindi natin nabanggit Professor Emeritus. Si Sir.
Professor Emeritus siya in the Ethnic Studies Department, Asian American Studies Program sa California State University sa Sacramento. Ayan, sa mga hindi po nakakaalam. Sige po, dito na nagtatapos ang ating programang Bridges on Air. Ako pong syempre bago natin tapusin to, syempre yung ating mga kasama dito, pasalamatan natin. Sa Master Control nandiyan si Sir Milo Janela, sa ating Wirecast nandiyan si Justin Osias, at syempre sa ating audio live streaming sa Evox PBS receiver app ay nandiyan naman si Hero Lucero. So sa ngalan ng ating kasama si Ray Sampang, ako po si Steph Vicente ng Radyo Pilipinas World Service, kasama po si
Aris Gutierrez po ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas.
at ito ang Bridges on Air.
Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Panagsanib na puwersa ng PBS Radyo Pilipinas World Service at Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Magsisilbing tulay sa himpapawid para sa Filipino diaspora. Dala ay balita, impormasyon at serbisyo publiko na mag-uugnay sa pamahalaan at OFWs sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Tampok din ang mga Pilipino na nagbibigay inspirasyon, kampyon ng kultura, tradisyon at katatagan ng Pilipino sa kapwa Pinoy saan man sa mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.